Welcome back to Houston Newsmakers. I'm joined now by Baker Institute and Rice University political scientist Dr. Mark Jones, whose expertise, one of them, all about politics. We talked about the mayor's race when you were on before, the Hobby School of Public Affairs. They put out the poll that showed Mayor Turner with a substantial lead among a field of 12. Then his 18-point lead in the general was cut to a 12-point win, based upon his incumbency and the power of the purse. Should he have won by more, or was that as respectable as you could expect?
Well, I think the mayor would have been better off winning by a few more points. I think that would have given him a stronger mandate going into a second term, especially in a city that's 55% Democratic. What it showed was he won the Democratic support, but he didn't win much Republican or independent support at all. And so while it's a good win, it isn't a great win.
So, you know, this is a, quote, nonpartisan race, but it really is. I mean, it's not that. Isn't that the bunch of hooey, really?
Right. Yeah. No, today, all these elections are now very partisan. We look at the city council and we say, this is a Republican, this is a Democrat. The days of a true nonpartisan city council and mayor are long in the past.
So now that this happens, so what does it say about the fact that a non-politician with millions and millions of dollars can come into a race and actually make a race of it? He didn't win it, but he made a race of it.
I think you look at it two ways. On one hand, it does show that people with money can actually have outside influence in politics. On the other hand, it also, I think, raises a question about the strength of the Houston mayor, in the sense that even someone with that amount of money couldn't defeat him. And it says that if you didn't have that amount of money, say if you were Bill King or Dwight Boykins, who were great candidates, they didn't have any money, they didn't come any close. So it suggests that if you have to compete against an incumbent mayor, you're pretty much out of luck unless you're a billionaire.
Yeah, a billionaire. Speaking of billionaires, the name of Trump played a part in this race. It may not have helped Tony Buzbee. In fact, it may have hurt him. The Turner campaign made a point to paint him as a Trump guy. And in the city of Houston, where so many Democrats are, as you talked about, it is a partisan thing in a nonpartisan race. How much you think that hurt him? Would it have made a difference?
Well, I think it did. The smartest thing the smartest thing the Turner campaign did was to link Tony Buzbee to Donald Trump, and certainly Buzbee provided quite a bit of evidence in terms of campaign donations and hosting fundraisers. It was probably a little unfair in terms of his politics, but it was very effective. And in a city, as you mentioned, where Donald Trump is very unpopular, Buzbee could never shake the label that he was the Trump candidate in Houston. And a Democratic city that doesn't like Donald Trump, that was essentially a political killer. Now,
with the kind of campaign it was not exactly a timid campaign. How do you expect that changes, or will it change the direction of the city council in terms of the way it operates? So the mayor is going to be leading that charge, so to speak.
Well, Buzbee toned it down a little bit in the second round. It was essentially in the runoff. It wasn't as personal in terms of the attacks. What we see on council, though, is a council that is more progressive than the previous council. So we're likely to see a council and a mayor move further to the left during the next 4 years.
It is also a city council, 9 women or so will be on the seat, and that's never happened before. The President Obama said something last week where he made the comment that women are better leaders than men. That's what his comment was. Anyway, any proof of that? Do you think that the dynamic of the way this council is led and the way it does its business might change with all of the women in play now?
Well, there are a few more women on council. I don't think it's going to change that much, but it certainly is a positive thing, and it in some ways counterbalances the strong negative factor that we only have one Latino on a 60-member council. Our city's 45% Latino. That's 6%, and for the first time since 1993, we won't have any Asian Americans on the council.
And that the Asian American was running against an African American woman who now is on council. What do you think about Dr. Letitia Plummer, at large 4? She won by 3 points over a college student with no political experience except the name that people happen to know from his dad.
Well, and I think that highlights a problem we have with the at-large seats, in that those races are over the entire city of Houston, but no one has a budget to actually reach voters. And so basic name recognition often helps get you into office. And in this case, you had Anthony Dolcefino, whose father was famed media personality Wayne Dolcefino. That's what got him close. Nothing else related to him because, as you mentioned, he's a college kid.
Right. Now, we still have one district that still is yet to be decided. What's going on with that? How long will that take to get that decided?
I don't know. That's very unfortunate with District B. There was essentially one of the candidates in the runoff was a former felon. and so they're essentially holding it up, saying whether or not she has the right to run in the runoff. My general view of that is that I don't think she should have been allowed to run, but once you allow voters to cast a vote for her, you can't take that away. And I think that the smartest thing to do would be to get that runoff on the ballot as soon as possible so that Houstonians can vote on it and the winner can actually take their seat on council.
Let's talk about the impeachment efforts now underway in Congress. It seems clear that the president violated his oath of office, says one side.
Right.
And the other side says, wait a minute, there's nothing wrong. He did nothing wrong. And they agree with the president that the call was perfect and that sort of thing. What happens at the next stage is unclear at this point. We know that the impeachment process is going in the House. What happens in the Senate? But what does it say about the deep divisions in our country that make black seem white and white seem black, depending on your perspective?
Well, yeah, I mean, everybody looks at this impeachment process through a partisan lens. Trump supporters see it as essentially overreach and a way to essentially nullify Trump's election. Democrats see it as a very legitimate way to get rid of a president who's abused his power. Unfortunately, the country is split right down the middle, with about 47% favoring impeachment, 47% opposing it. And during this entire process, we really haven't seen those numbers shift, meaning that everyone's looking at it from their respective partisan camp.
Any impact, you think, what kind of impact do you think this will have on President Trump and his run for re-election? It's the first time an impeached president will be running for re-election.
Well, on the negative side, it's certainly not good when people essentially have provided evidence that you probably did do some things that were violating your oath of office. On the positive side, Trump may be able to use this to mobilize his base and get them to turn out to vote in higher numbers than they might have otherwise turned out.
We, of course, will keep track of all of that. With your input, we'll be analyzing as it moves along as well. Dr. Jones, thank you as always for coming in.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Next week here on Houston Newsmakers, we're going to be talking about the critical elections in the years ahead and how secure is your vote.